Yes, I will see you through the smoking flames on the front.
Being a man is no easy feat. At any point in history, it hasn't been. It requires discipline, determination, and a level, logical head. A man needs to be smart and able to survive in the world. It's something that might seem easy to the outside world. It might look like it's all beer pong and boobies, but that's only to the outside ignorant blue-pilled betas and snarkhead simps. The ones who constantly compete for female validation. No need to mention them. We red-pilled men know who they are. However, there is one thing that separates red-pilled alphas and sigmas from the blue-pilled betas. And that, my friends, is the ego trap. The very trap that shackles and debilitates the blue-pilled man because, much like his female counterparts, his ego can be a handicap. But first, we need to understand what an ego is. An ego is defined as a person's self-importance or self-esteem. It's tied with self-worth, self-respect, and a host of other things involving the self. How can it be a handicap? Allow me to show you. It's a handicap because an ego is something that constantly needs to be spoon-fed and satiated. It's something that requires a man to seek out validation from his peers, male and female alike. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a healthy self-esteem. There's nothing wrong with telling people your accomplishments. It's good to be proud of yourself when you have accomplished something in life. However, as I have said before, a true red pill man's validation always comes from within. It should always and must always be internal. The ego prevents men from having internal validation, and it causes men to require external validation. And in my view, that doesn't make a man any better than the narcissistic thoughts that litter social media in droves. In fact, it actually makes him worse, because that puts him on equal footing with common street trash. It makes him worse because he is wasting whatever God-given potential he has. Instead of wanting to improve himself, he wastes all that time and energy chasing something that won't matter the following day. It prevents him from humbling himself and is like a drug. Trust me, we see it all the time with the snap sluts and insta thoughts. He is just like them because he constantly needs the drug of internal validation. It traps him something awful. It's a vicious cycle that repeats itself over and over again until some earth-shattering event happens in his life that destroys his ego, or he is bested by a man who is superior to him. One of the two things can happen. He becomes bitter and angry, or he has a cold splash of reality and learns humility, and as a result, grows and becomes a better version of himself. Another danger of the ego trap is the attitude of being too big to fail. A lot of men out there have this type of attitude towards life and towards whatever endeavors they may pursue. What do I mean by too big to fail? Well, it's honestly quite simple. Say a man becomes a high-profile drug kingpin like El Chapo. He is the head of one of the Mexican cartels. After a while of becoming a foot soldier and rising his way up through the ranks, he deposes the old kingpin and establishes himself as the new ruler of the trade. He has money, power, and influence. He has politicians at his payroll, and he keeps his pockets lined. He stays at the top of his game and manages to elude capture and extradition. After a while, he believes himself to be invincible and begins to slip up. Eventually, after a while of complacency and arrogance brought about by his ego, he becomes trapped, and as a result, he is eventually captured and now faces trial for his crimes. He has allowed himself to be in that state because his ego blinded him, and he bought into the illusion of invincibility. It proved to be his self-undoing, and all because of an inflated ego. This isn't just for organized crime. This is the result of any man from any walk of life, in any profession. It doesn't matter. I had this myself, and it cost me a lot, too. I had an ego, and I did something stupid. I had to face the consequences of my actions. I regret what I did, but it made me better to acknowledge it and move on with my life. The other thing, too, when it comes to an ego, is that it could potentially poison relationships you have with friends and family. At some point, egos alienate people away, at least the relevant people anyway. The relevant people in your life. Egos can serve as the gateway to full-fledged narcissism. It's not all doom and gloom. There is hope. Here's tips to help you shed and overcome the ego. Links to the sites will be below. Number 1. Practice forgiveness and letting go. The most powerful tool to learn is to let go of our egos, and to make life easier is to practice forgiveness. We have to learn to forgive the people who hurt us, and most importantly, we have to learn to forgive ourselves. Accept, let go, and keep moving forward. Forgiveness will open windows to your soul and remove the negativity to allow room for new happiness. Number 2. Practice honesty and being open. An important sentence I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard too, is the truth will set you free. Suppressing our emotions can develop depression and anxiety. Always seek the truth. Honesty provides us unconditional freedom to be connected with ourselves instead of trying to be something we're not. Learn to say no to the things that don't add value in your life and open your arms and run towards something that does. Number 3. Surrender your need for control. We are not our egos. We are not our jobs. We are not our material possessions, and we are not our achievements. Once you let your ego control your life, you will never be happy or relaxed, because as soon as you lose one of those things that you identify with, the rest will fall like dominoes and you will lose your happiness. Break the fears and trust life. Don't be scared. Take risks. Be curious. Explore. Do what makes you happy. Try to do something every day that scares you, and you'll start to feel happiness in the small things. Number 4. Enjoy enjoy silent moments with yourself. Create an everyday routine to remind yourself why it's beautiful to be you, to know that you are enough. Every day, perform a selfless act of kindness and enjoy giving without the expectation to receive. Take 5 minutes every day to be with yourself in silence, because sometimes, in silence, you can find the answers that the voices never can. Number 5, practice gratitude. Take 5 minutes every day to think about all the people, experiences, lessons, and mistakes you are thankful for. Grateful people feel more love and compassion and feel more alive than those who don't. Appreciate everything and everyone, and you'll discover the true beauty in your life. Number 6, don't be offended. If you are looking for reasons to be offended, you'll find them every few minutes. This mindset weakens you, forcing you to stay defensive or belligerent, wasting away too much energy and mental focus in unnecessary confrontations. By letting go, you will open yourself to many more opportunities and enjoying a richer life. Being offended creates destructive energy and leading to a never-ending series of attacks and counterattacks. Of course, you should still be offended by the many horrific things that happen in this world, but by not letting your ego constantly complain about the small things, you will truly learn to focus on those things that are truly important and affect all of us dramatically as a group and as individuals. Things like politics, crime, poverty, war, etc. Stay calm and live in peace. Number 7, get rid of the need to win and to be right. To win is a foolproof method to avoid contact with your true self. The need to win is a never-ending rat race that will never allow you to step aside and reflect on your actions. You cannot win all the time. Let go of the need for recognition. Forget the need to win and to be right, and your life will improve drastically. You don't need to impose yourself to feel right. In fact, living in a state of permanent competition against others is very detrimental for yourself. I have seen many relationships get screwed by the need of certain people to always be right. Don't let this happen. It will ruin your life and that of those around you. Number 8, overcome the need to feel superior. Improving has nothing to do with being better than others. Improving is all about being better than you were the last day. Focus on your inner growth, being constantly aware that no one is better than anyone else on this planet. The ego tends to judge everyone and everything based on appearance, achievements, possessions, value, and other metrics that make sense only from the ego point of view. It loves to divide people between winners and losers. These kinds of feelings lead to resentment, confrontation, and hostility against each other. These feelings will pull you apart from others and apart from the true enjoyment of life. Number 9, overcome the need for more. The ego is never satiated. It doesn't matter how much you have. Your ego will keep you asking for more. It is never enough. You will be trapped. Ironically, when you overcome the ego, it feels as if you have more than what you want. You will realize how little you really need, and you will be at peace. You will be pleased with yourself by simply living. Number 10, overcome the need for accomplishments. It may be difficult to achieve this if you always identify yourself with all the things you have done. You are not your achievements. In fact, you're not your body. You are merely an observer. Look around and appreciate the capabilities that you have at your disposal and achieve things since you were born, but don't let your ego take credit for it all. After all, you are a part of something much bigger than yourself, have always been and always will be. The reputation that you identify yourself with is located in the minds of others. It's an illusion and it shouldn't control you. If you talk to 30 different people, all 30 will have different opinions. Stop and meditate. Reconnect with the world. Focus what you truly believe is your goal in the world beyond what others think you should do at all. If you worry about how others perceive your actions, you will end up losing touch with your true self. Another tip would be try surrendering yourself to a higher power, i.e. praying to God if you are the religious type. Remember, your ego is nothing more than something that has been crafted over the years due to your life experiences and habits. Remember that your ego is not your true self. It's merely a facade that blocks you from seeing your potential. It is a hindrance and something that should be treated as such. Only by shedding it can you allow yourself to grow and develop. Doing this will allow you to shed your egos and embrace humility. To stay on your journey towards becoming the best versions of yourself. That's all for now. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate to my Patreon for more content. Links will be in the description below. Thank you.